Hi everybody, it's Debbie Meehan with Washington Fine Properties and welcome to my new series, How Much Does It Cost? Today I'm going to be talking about fence materials because if you're going to have a horse farm, the first thing you need to think about is really how to keep your horses on your property. We use fence. And in different areas of the country, other types of fencing might be more popular. But in our area, I think the most popular choice for horse fencing is 3 or 4 board fence. Now, what people who don't realize is how much this can cost. And having somebody come in and do this for you, they usually charge by the linear foot. So on my property, which is just over 10 acres, we have just under 10,000 linear feet of fence. And we don't even have a ton of cross fencing. So with using that 10,000 linear foot number, you can easily spend, by the time you put in the materials, let it age, and then paint it, that fence cost can run you, anywhere between $9 to $15 a linear foot. So if you do the math, you can see that this can be a tremendous cost. So I wanted to talk about some of the other things that can make this type of fencing different. There's so many variables, even just with the wooden. So if I were to look at this gate post, this is a full round. This is going to be expensive. So, but you're going to need to have big rounds like this in corners and at gates. If we move up here, you can see that this is what's called a half round post. Now you can have a 3/4 round post, and that ups the cost as well. But with the half posts, I think they get more use out of it. So we opted for the half rounds to save a little bit of money. The other thing I could have done was to have 4 board fence, which obviously that means adding another board. So that would have increased my cost as well. For the types of horses that I had, 3 board fence was going to be sufficient to keep them in. Another fencing choice that's popular with horsemen is vinyl fencing. We did not opt for that for a couple of reasons. Vinyl fencing is about twice the cost of board fencing, and I think that it also can splinter. So when I say vinyl fencing, these are like PVC or vinyl planks. They look like white fence that you might see in Kentucky, and they're very attractive and they're easy to maintain because there's no wood rot and things like that, so you can just pressure wash them and they're very clean. But what I don't like is if a horse runs into it, then they can break those boards, and it's splintering and things like that just don't really, that and combined with the cost, it wasn't really something that we wanted to do. But for some farms, it may be the right choice. Another option for horse fencing, which can be quite budget friendly, is high tensile wire. The most basic of high tensile wire is basically posts that you're stringing wire that's on tension. You would need to occasionally tighten it. It does loosen up over time, so you have that kind of maintenance, but it's a lot less expensive. One option that I find to be really intriguing is something called flex fence, because it takes that high tensile wire and it basically takes 3 strands of it and encapsulates it in a plastic plank. So it's visually, the horse can see it better, they're less likely to run into it and injure themselves, but it's also easy to take care of and less expensive. The biggest thing is that you have to know that it will lose tension over time, so you have to tighten it. So with that in mind, it can be a really good option for people. So I really need to talk about another option that I've used myself, which is electric fence. There's a lot of benefits to using electric fence, and there's different types. You can get a little braid, you can get thick tape so that it's more visual. I personally would not use electric fence as my primary fencing source, but I used it as a great way to separate fields if I got a new horse in and maybe wanted to keep it separated from the other ones until they got used to each other, or maybe just to rest part of my field. And the great thing about electric fence is that it is so affordable and you really don't need a contractor to put it in. You can put it in yourself. I've done it with as easy as like step-in posts, which I can just literally put the post in with no hassle. Or a lot of times people will use metal T-posts to put in the electric fence. Now I will caution you, if you use metal T-posts, I do recommend that you use the rubber caps or the plastic caps on top so that you don't have a horse like impaling itself on a T-post. The con to this is that T-posts aren't the most attractive thing in the world, but they are easy to take in and out and you can move the fence around as you like it. I have personally found that electric fence works best when I have it hardwired into electric. I've tried solar, and the solar power does have a little bit of a zap to it, but it's not as strong as when it's hardwired. And if you have a little rascal who likes to escape, you probably need to have the juice turned up as high as it can be because they need to really respect that fence. But again, electric fence is a great, affordable option for fencing when you are looking for cross fencing or just a little separation. And I think it goes without saying that barbed wire and horses do not mix. If you have cattle, go ahead, have the barbed wire, but not for horses.